We've just seen the IPL, and the one adjective that everyone's using to talk about the IPL is biggest ever. Did you think in March, April, when COVID hit us and the lockdown happened, that we would be sitting in November and using the word biggest ever to describe the IPL?
No, to be honest, Anuradha, we didn't think that it would be the biggest IPL because in March, April, nobody knew where the world was going to be. First of all, when IPL was suspended, we all, being the eternal optimists that human beings are, we all felt that it was going to be for a few weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks. And then we started thinking, after all, how long can it go on for? And so nobody knew. But when nothing was happening, literally the whole world was in a lockdown, there was a massive starvation for content and live sports, then we realized that whenever IPL happened, it would be a really big one, because given how passionate Indians are about cricket, and when cricket came back, we realized that it would be big. However, we also knew that there were going to be huge challenges, because this was the first time the whole tournament was going to be played in empty stadiums. Travel would be difficult. So we had to get ready for that. We knew that it could be the biggest, or it could be the most disastrous.
Right.
If we did not do the right things.
So given that it's turned out to be the biggest, you want to throw some numbers at us to give us a real sense of the scale. We know that viewership has gone up, but give us a sense of the revenues, give us a sense of everything else that made it so big.
I usually don't like to talk about revenues, and I know you and I have been at this game for almost 15 years when you've been trying to get numbers out of me, and I have been trying to duck them. But
talk about the business of anything without numbers and hard data, Uday. So, and you're lucky you're not listed in this country, so you can get away by ducking. But give us a broad sense of the scale.
So, broad sense, I'll tell you. It is by far, and on a serious note, let me just tell you why we do not share numbers, because we are not listed here. However, we are part of a globally listed company, and we have very strong protocols around what we can share and because the information is market sensitive. So we generally leave it all for the headquarters to compile and share at the right time. I can tell you, as you said, in terms of viewership, it is by far the biggest IPL. I mean, it's bigger than any other IPL by 25, if not 30%. And even in terms of revenue, it's been very successful. And we have been astounded by the kind of response that we saw from advertisers and consumers both, because we knew that it was going to be big, but that it turned out to be so big and it held through the tournament. I think that's been extremely satisfying. It also tells you how people were very keen for life and small joys of life to triumph over everything else, all the concerns and miseries. So it's finally about that. It's about power of cricket. It's about people's desire to let life prevail over everything else. And it's about the creativity that Star Network brings in.
Yeah. One quick follow-up, and then Ajay, I'm going to move to you. And that is, I think, the timing when it did finally happen, given that it came after several of the unlocks, and given that it came, with the run-up, or in the run-up to Diwali, I think was also another sweet spot, isn't it? Which was not expected before, but it happened to be a perfect kind of
for sure
sweet spot.
For sure, but look, it happened at the right time. But this wasn't a festival season like any other festival season. Yeah. It was very muted. People were worried. They were still not going out and shopping and having fun the way they would normally in a festival season. And it's also a fact that there has been economic hardship on a lot of consumers. So given all of that, the Diwali, of course, the festival season and Diwali and Durga Puja, they helped. But just imagine if it was a normal Diwali, how much bigger it could have been.